Hello everyone, do you play Missile Wars? I don't care what the answer to that question is, because today I'll be sitting you down and teaching you all the dumb ways that you can use to win this game, including using literal TNT cannons. Missile Wars is a game where you spawn and ride flying TNT slime block machines with the goal of destroying the opponent's nether portal. Players have a sharpness bow and randomly get shields, arrows, and fireballs to defend. You can play this game by logging into the Cubekrowd server at play.cubekrowd.net. Before we get into the strategies, you need to know that it is extremely important to defuse your missiles by breaking the TNT on them to make them safer to ride. Literally none of the strategies I list will work if you do not know how to defuse missiles, so very quickly I'll show you easy ways to defuse all 5 missiles. With a Shieldbuster, quickly destroy these 2 TNT on the back, then just go up front here, and then break these TNT. For the Tomahawk, go up front here and break this big cluster of TNT, like this, making sure to leave this slime block intact, and then work your way back just like this. Break these TNT here, this TNT in the back, and this TNT under here. Also, make sure to leave this TNT intact, as the missile will stop without it and can't really be restarted. For the Juggernaut, you want to break this entire top layer of TNT like this, and then go from the left side and break all the TNT over here like this, and you should be good to go. Make sure to leave this TNT intact, as the missile will stop without it, but if it happens to get broken, what you can do is you can break this piston, break this glass block, and then this piston, and the missile should start right back up. For the Guardian, if you're feeling lazy, you can just destroy this front TNT here, but for a safer and fuller defuse, you can go ahead and first break this slime block up front here, and then this slime block. Same story with the Lightning. So if you're feeling lazy, you can just break these 3 blocks on the side of the missile, and you should be good to go. But for a fuller and safer defuse, go ahead and break one of these TNT here. Same thing will happen if one of these TNT happens to get shot by a flame bow. And now just do exactly what I do, so break these blocks, break this piston, these 2 TNT, break this TNT, making sure to leave this TNT intact, and then after you break this piston, the missile should fire up again. Yep. And you now have a much safer missile to ride. Now, let's get into the strategies. The first one is the low strat. To get started, head to the side of the base and dig straight down until you get to the bottommost layer. Dig into the wall a bit to ride your missiles. Any missile will do, but the best choices are the Tomahawk or Lightning. Tomahawks have no slime blocks to land on, so enemy players will have a hard time defending without dying to fall damage. Lightnings are sneaky and fast, and while they have slime blocks, they are very hard to land on as well. Once you get to the other side, you are almost guaranteed a win, as it is almost impossible for the enemy to defend at this stage. Stop your missile around 1/3 of the way into their base by breaking slime blocks, dig up, and place missiles inside each other. Chances are they'll blow each other up along with the portal. If you can't reach the bottom of the base, you can try using this undercannon discovered by KaddyD. You'll need to wait for a Juggernaut and a Shieldbuster and place them on diagonal blocks about half a second apart, like this, and the TNT will blast upwards into the portal. Enemies have a couple ways of defending against you. You'll want to of course dodge arrows and deflect fireballs. Smarter opponents may try knocking you off right as they fall past you. You can reduce your knockback by sprinting into a corner like I do so here. More knowledgeable players may also try to bomb you. A clear sign of this is if you notice a partially undefused missile traveling directly above you. In this case, stop your missile, and once they get directly overhead, simply hop onto another missile. If you die, you can make your low base easier to access by digging down on the sides like this, so you take less fall damage while going low. If this strategy isn't working for you, why not try the second strategy, cannoning. Now, the cannoning setups are very different depending on which team you're on, so I'll explain them individually here. If you're on red, you'll need arrows, a Juggernaut, a Shieldbuster, and any other missile. Select a lane that is clear of obstacles and jump on your other missile. You'll want to open up your F3 screen and ride the missile until the front of the missile reaches around Z equals -20, where you should then stop the missile by breaking slime blocks. Make sure the area is clear of players, and now you want to find 2 blocks on the same level on the missile that are also 2 blocks apart. Hold the Juggernaut in your main hand and the Shieldbuster on the offhand. Stand on the back block and very quickly right-click the front block, then the back block. Your cannon will now be primed. Run to the front of the cannon and unload an arrow into this TNT right before it explodes. This will blast the TNT directly into the enemy portal. Note that I use a mod called Time to Live to display the TNT timer. If you're on green, you can use the exact same setup, but you'll have to stop your missile at Z equals -2 instead of -20, which is much harder to do without the enemy noticing and trying to defend. Instead, you can use this insane ICBM. For this, you will need a shield, arrows, a Juggernaut, and a Shieldbuster. Stand on the edge of the base and throw the shield towards the right side of the base, making sure it's placed 1 block behind the obsidian strip. In front of the shield, dig out this exact pattern in the base, starting it between the dark and light green glass as shown. Turn around and place your Juggernaut 4 blocks above the obsidian strip on the shield you just threw, in the same lane as the middle of the pattern you just dug. The Juggernaut should stop exactly like this. Now follow exactly what I do, because if you break the wrong block, this cannon will fail spectacularly. Finally, you'll want to place your Shieldbuster in the exact same location as the Juggernaut, which is 4 blocks above the obsidian strip, same lane as middle block of the Juggernaut, as we just did. Unload your arrow into the TNT as we did before, and chances are it will fly also directly into the enemy portal. If enemy players try to fireball or shoot your cannon as you're building it, you can have a friend throw another shield right in front of the cannon, which will not affect the cannon's performance at all. Note that this is much more precise and harder to pull off than the red side cannon. In fact, it might be so difficult to pull off that if you're on green, you'd probably want to go with the final and best strategy. The best strategy in the game is called the high strat. It's nearly impossible to defend against, and there are 2 ways to do it. First is shield stacking, and second is launching. Shield stacking involves throwing shields on your own base to climb high into the sky. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll show you how to get the most optimal shield stack. To get started, you'll want to open up your F3 screen and locate this number here, called your pitch, which changes when you look up and down. Throw your first shield with your pitch between -15 and -16, and your shield should be perfectly placed on top of your base. Similarly, you'll want to throw your second shield between pitches -32 and -33. Your third shield between pitches -52 and -53. At this point, you have more than enough room to win a game, but if you really want to go higher, you can throw another shield looking straight up. Once you create a path to the top of your shield stack, simply ride a missile to the other side. If you have a lightning and you're feeling good about yourself, you can try a pro deploy using the strategy I'm showing here. Now watch my keystrokes closely and notice how I get momentum by tapping jump facing diagonally, and then when I turn around, I release W and hold S in order to catch onto the missile. Now, if you defuse your missiles, enemies will have a very hard time shooting or fireballing you, and if your missile happens to get stopped, simply hop onto another one. Now this is where you need to make sure you use the full Guardian and Lightning diffuses I showed earlier. And once you make it to the enemy base, simply wait for 2 missiles, drop down, and embed them in their base for an easy win. Another way to get high up is to use a launch. While this strategy gets you really high really quick, you should only use this if you're sure enemies have run out of arrows and fireballs, as you are quite vulnerable while setting it up. To get started, you'll need a Juggernaut and a shield. Ride the Juggernaut and stop it by breaking this corner front slime block like so. Crouch to the front of the missile, open up F3, look up until your pitch is around -85, and throw a shield. Now, you want to do exactly what I do, or else, again, this will not work. Now, at this point, the launcher will prime once you break this TNT, but once you break it, a piston will appear here that you'll have to quickly destroy before the TNT goes off. Once you destroy it, use the remaining time to crouch to the corner of the redstone block. After the TNT explodes, hold W, and you should be perfectly placed on top of the shield you just threw. Now, you can just use the classic shield stack strategies explained earlier. Of course, don't just stick to one of these strategies, learn all of them and try different ones depending on your situation. For example, if your game starts off with a useless fireball, you can try setting up a low strat. Or, for example, if you start with a shield and you're on green, you can start setting up an ICBM while doing a shield stack. Finally, even if you do use these strategies, defense is still very important, because if your opponent wins the game, then obviously you can't win the game. If enemies get close to your base, you can pelt them with arrows, fireball them, nuke them, spawn missiles inside them, or ride up to them and punch them off, just to name a few defense methods. Alright, thanks for watching everyone. I hope you do put these strategies to good use at play.cubekrowd.net, where the official Missile Wars game is hosted. And I'll see you guys next time.